I never thought a casual Sunday lunch would turn my entire family against me. But here we are. My name is Marcus, and I'm 34 years old. This story involves my older brother Daniel, his wife Rebecca, and their 16-year-old son, Tyler. Let me give you some context. Tyler was adopted when he was just 3 months old. Daniel and Rebecca struggled with infertility for years before deciding adoption was their path to parenthood. It was supposed to be a beautiful thing, and honestly, it was. They've been wonderful parents to Tyler. But here's where things get complicated. Tyler has never been told he was adopted. I've always thought this was wrong. I mean, the kid is 16 years old now. He deserves to know his own story, right? I've brought this up with Daniel and Rebecca multiple times over the years, suggesting they should tell Tyler the truth before he finds out some other way. Each time, they shut me down, saying they'd tell him when the time is right or when he's mature enough to handle it. Last Sunday, we were all gathered at my parents' house for our usual family lunch. Mom had made her famous lasagna, and everyone was in a good mood. Tyler was talking about applying to colleges and mentioned he was interested in studying genetics. He was going on about how fascinating DNA and heredity are, and how he wanted to understand where certain traits come from. That's when he looked at Daniel and said, "Dad, I think I got your height gene, but Mom's eyes, right? It's so cool how that works." The table went silent. Rebecca went pale. Daniel stared at his plate. My parents exchanged uncomfortable glances, and I couldn't take it anymore. 16 years of watching this kid live in ignorance while talking about genetic inheritance. The irony was too much. "Tyler," I said, "you should know something. You were adopted." The words hung in the air like a bomb. Tyler's face went from confused to shocked to hurt in about 3 seconds. Rebecca gasped and stood up so fast her chair fell over. Daniel's face turned red with rage. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Daniel shouted at me, standing up and slamming his hands on the table. Tyler just sat there, frozen, looking between his parents and me. What? What does that mean? Is that true?" Rebecca started crying, trying to reach for Tyler, but he pulled away. My mom was crying too, calling my name like I'd just committed murder. My dad just shook his head in disappointment. "We were going to tell him," Rebecca sobbed. "We had a plan." "After 16 years?" I shot back. "He's about to study genetics in college. How long were you going to keep lying to him?" Tyler pushed back from the table and ran out of the house. Daniel chased after him, but not before stopping to tell me he never wanted to see me again. The rest of the family cleared out pretty quickly after that. My mom told me I had destroyed a family and that I was cruel and selfish. My dad said I had no right to make that decision, that it wasn't my place. Now, 3 days later, I'm completely cut off. Daniel and Rebecca won't answer my calls. Tyler blocked me on social media. My parents say I'm not welcome at family gatherings until I fix what I've done. But how do I fix this? I didn't create the lie. I just ended it. My friends are split. Some say I did the right thing, that Tyler deserved to know. Others say I was completely out of line, that it wasn't my secret to tell, regardless of how wrong I thought keeping it was. I've been lying awake at night, replaying that moment over and over. Tyler's face haunts me. The betrayal in his eyes wasn't just directed at me. It was directed at everyone at that table. His whole world shattered in one sentence, and I'm the one who said it. But was I wrong? Or was I the only one willing to tell this kid the truth? I keep thinking about what could have happened if they'd waited longer. What if Tyler had done one of those ancestry DNA tests? What if he'd found out during a medical emergency? Wouldn't finding out that way have been even worse? Or maybe I'm just trying to justify what I did. Maybe I should have pulled Tyler aside privately or confronted Daniel and Rebecca one more time with an ultimatum. Maybe there were 100 better ways to handle this than blurting it out at Sunday lunch. The thing is, I don't regret Tyler knowing the truth. I regret how he found out. I regret the pain in his eyes. I regret that his parents weren't the ones to tell him. But I don't regret ending the lie. So here I am, the family villain, the uncle who destroyed everything with one sentence, the person everyone is calling selfish, cruel, and vindictive. Part of me wonders if I did this because I genuinely thought it was right, or because I was frustrated with Daniel and Rebecca's refusal to listen to me all these years. Was this about Tyler's right to know, or was it about me being right? I don't know anymore. What I do know is that a 16-year-old kid is out there right now, questioning everything he thought he knew about himself and his family. And whether I was right or wrong, I'm the reason he's feeling that way. It's been 2 weeks since the incident. That's what my mom is calling it now, like it was some kind of natural disaster that just happened, rather than a conscious choice I made. 2 weeks of silence, blocked numbers, and sleeping 3 hours a night. But let me tell you what's happened since that Sunday lunch, because this story gets more complicated. 3 days after the revelation, I received a text from an unknown number. It was Tyler. He must have used a friend's phone since he'd blocked me on everything. The message read, "I need to talk to you. Don't tell my parents. Meet me at Riverside Park tomorrow at 3 p.m. I sat staring at that message for an hour, my hands shaking. This was exactly what Daniel and Rebecca would never forgive, meeting Tyler behind their backs. But this kid had questions, and I was probably the only person willing to give him honest answers. So I went. Tyler looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, wearing the same hoodie I'd seen him in at Sunday lunch. He was sitting on a bench by the river, hunched over his phone, probably pretending to scroll while he waited. When he saw me, he didn't say hi. He just asked, "How long have you known?" "Since the beginning," I told him. "Since before they brought you home from the hospital." He nodded slowly, like he'd expected that answer, but it still hurt to hear. "Everyone knew but me?" "Your grandparents, me. Probably some of your parents' close friends, yes." Tyler laughed, but it was bitter. 16 years. 16 years of lying to my face every single day. We sat in silence for a moment. Then he asked the questions I'd been dreading. "Do you know who my real parents are? Why didn't they want me? Am I ever going to meet them?" I told him the truth. I didn't know much. I knew his birth mother had been young, that it was a closed adoption, that she'd made an impossible choice because she wanted him to have a better life. I explained that real parents was complicated because Daniel and Rebecca had raised him, loved him, sacrificed for him. "They lied to me," Tyler said flatly. "Real parents don't do that." That hit me hard. Because isn't that exactly what I'd thought? That parents who really loved their kid wouldn't build their entire relationship on a secret? Tyler told me he'd confronted Daniel and Rebecca the night of the lunch. They'd admitted everything, crying and apologizing, saying they were going to tell him soon, that they were just waiting for the right moment. Tyler didn't believe them. "They said you had no right to tell me," Tyler continued. "That you destroyed our family. But Uncle Marcus, they destroyed it first. They just did it slowly over 16 years. I asked him how he was handling it. He shrugged and said, "I don't even know who I am anymore. Every time I look in the mirror, I wonder whose eyes I have, whose nose, whose smile. I keep thinking about all the times I said I looked like Dad or had Mom's personality. Everyone at that table knew I was wrong, but they just let me believe the lie." Then Tyler asked me something I wasn't prepared for. "Why did you tell me? Was it really about me deserving to know? Or were you just mad at my parents?" I'd been asking myself the same question for 2 weeks. I looked at this 16-year-old kid who'd had his world shattered, and I owed him honesty. "Both," I admitted. I thought you deserved to know. But I was also frustrated that they wouldn't listen to me. I'd been telling them for years, to be honest with you, and they kept putting it off. When you started talking about genetics and inheritance at lunch, something just snapped. Tyler appreciated the honesty, at least. Everyone keeps lying to me or hiding things. At least you're straight with me. We talked for almost 2 hours. Tyler asked about his adoption day, about what he was like as a baby, about whether his birth mother ever asked about him. I told him everything I knew and admitted when I didn't know something. Before he left, Tyler made me promise not to tell his parents we'd met. They're already trying to control everything about this situation. I need at least one person in this family who doesn't treat me like I'm going to break. I promised, knowing it would make everything worse if Daniel and Rebecca found out. That was 5 days ago. Yesterday, everything exploded again. Rebecca showed up at my apartment at 7 a.m., pounding on my door. When I opened it, she looked furious and exhausted. "You've been meeting with Tyler behind our backs," she screamed. "What is wrong with you? Haven't you done enough damage?" Apparently, Tyler's friend's mom had seen us at the park and mentioned it to Rebecca at the grocery store. Small-town problems. "He reached out to me," I said. "He had questions. Was I supposed to ignore him?" "Yes," Rebecca shouted. "You were supposed to stay away from our son. He's 16, he's confused, and he needs his parents right now, not the uncle who betrayed him." "I didn't betray him," I shot back. "You two did that when you decided to lie to him for 16 years. That's when Rebecca said something that made my blood run cold. Tyler's been researching how to find his birth parents. He's on adoption reunion websites, posting in forums, filling out DNA test registrations. He's obsessed with finding these people, who he thinks are going to want him. And he's going to be devastated when he realizes they probably don't want to be found." My stomach dropped. I hadn't thought about that possibility. What if Tyler tracks down his birth mother and she wants nothing to do with him? What if she has a new family and doesn't want her past revealed? What if finding her breaks his heart even more? Rebecca saw the realization on my face. "You didn't think about the consequences, did you? You just had to be right. You had to prove your point. And now Tyler is on a path to even more pain, and it's your fault." She left before I could respond. I sat in my apartment for hours after that, replaying her words. Tyler's been searching for his birth parents. He's desperate to find where he comes from, to understand his identity. And what if that search ends in rejection? Did I do this to him? By telling him the truth, did I set him on a path to even more heartbreak? My friend Jessica called last night to check on me. She's one of the few people who stayed neutral in this whole mess. I told her about Tyler researching his birth parents. "Marcus," she said gently, "Tyler would have found out eventually. These things always come out, and when they do, it's always worse than if the parents had just been honest from the start." "But what if he gets hurt?" I asked. "He's already hurt," Jessica replied. "He's hurt because the people he trusted most in the world lied to him. Whether he finds his birth parents or not, that pain exists. You didn't create it. Daniel and Rebecca did when they decided to keep this secret." Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm not the villain here. But I don't feel like a hero either. I feel like the person who pulled the pin on a grenade that was always going to explode. The question is, did I make it explode at a better time? Or did I just cause unnecessary destruction? Tyler texted me again this morning from another unknown number. "Found a DNA testing kit online. Ordering it today. Don't try to stop me." I'm not going to stop him. but I'm terrified of what happens next. The following weeks become a whirlwind for everyone. Tyler, determined to uncover his past, throws himself into adoption forums, ancestry websites, and endless internet searches. Daniel and Rebecca, his adoptive parents, are torn between fear for their son's well-being and anger at Marcus for lighting the spark. Marcus, meanwhile, finds himself more isolated, but convinced that honesty, however painful, was necessary. Tyler sends in his DNA kit, counting the days until results arrive. While he waits, he keeps pressing his parents for any scraps of information. But conversations are tense and often end with someone crying or leaving the room. The whole family feels the strain. Even extended family members start taking sides. The house that used to be filled with Sunday lunches and laughter now holds only tension and whispers. One night, Tyler asks Marcus to meet again, needing a place to vent feelings he doesn't feel safe sharing with his parents. Tyler talks about a sense of emptiness, not knowing his origins, not being able to fully trust Daniel and Rebecca, and feeling like a stranger to himself. Marcus listens, trying to offer comfort, but struggles with guilt. He doesn't get any easy answers about whether his actions helped or hurt, only the clear sense that the aftermath is messy, complicated, and painful. As Tyler's DNA results finally arrive, he finds a distant match, a woman who appears to be a relative on his biological mother's side. Tyler is shocked but excited, hoping for a real connection. He reaches out and, after exchanging messages, learns more about his birth family's circumstances. Meanwhile, Daniel and Rebecca undergo their own emotional journey. After consulting with an adoption therapist, they begin to see that secrecy only deepened the pain, and that supporting Tyler now, despite their fears, is the only way to heal their relationship. The family begins therapy together. There is no overnight forgiveness, only an agreement to listen to each other's feelings, to grieve openly, and to support Tyler's search even when it hurts. At the next Sunday lunch, the whole family gathers again. The mood is fragile but honest. Marcus apologizes for the way he revealed the secret. Daniel and Rebecca acknowledge their mistakes, and Tyler admits he still loves them, even though everything is different now. There's no fairy tale resolution, but a slow move toward understanding and acceptance. The secret has changed their family forever, but it also created space for real, open connection to begin at last.